They say until one has loved an animal, a part of one's soul remains unawakened. That's actually a quote from Anatole France, which really hit hard for me. Well, sort of, because it's not just about awakening one's soul, but for me, it's discovering my own purpose. Today, I want to share a story that's very close to my heart. It's a story of serendipity, of love, and the unbreakable bond that we share with our pets. This is the story of Cubi. It was April 2022 when the borders finally opened after the pandemic. My wife and I can finally travel back in the Philippines. We had our 2-week-long vacation all planned out. We planned to meet with friends, family, go to the beach, and indulge in all the home-cooked meals that we've missed. Well, that's what we thought. On a fourth day, when I was out looking for a laundromat, I saw this helpless, tiny kitten in a parking lot, struggling to breathe. He was motionless, his eyes is full of discharge, and there was a car backing up just about to crush him. And I moved this kitten somewhere safe. And I called my wife immediately and I told her, bring something, a box or anything, so we can put this kitten in and we can bring him to the vet. However, it was a holiday that day. So we drove around town looking for a vet that's open. And when we finally found one, we immediately brought the kitten in. And the vet told us that he's suffering from a severe respiratory infection and that his right eye is already blind. But with medication, we can still save his left eye. And so we did. I still remember what he looked like. It was really heart-wrenching, but my wife and I were determined to save him and give him the best life we could possibly have. And we decided to cancel all our holiday plans and just focus on giving him all the love that we could. And of course, we gave him a name, Cubi, after the place where I found him. Slowly, Cubi started showing signs of recovery, and that's when we saw his true personality, full of energy and very playful. Just as we were celebrating his progress, we were faced with another challenge. We have already fallen in love with this furball of energy, and we don't want to leave him behind. But we know that we only have a week left in our vacation, and the process will be very, very difficult because the vet advised us that he needs more time to fully recover, and the paperwork to bring him over to Singapore is extensive, and 1 week is not really enough. And he's a stray cat, and bringing a stray cat in Singapore is not an easy task. And there's also a long queue of pets being relocated to Singapore. But thankfully, we found a foster who took Cubi in and continued his care. But leaving him behind, even though we know it's just temporary, was one of the hardest things that we ever had to do.
When you're tired and worn,
Ingat-ingat si Cubi Cubes.
My boy.
and you feel like you can't go on,
Bye, my loves.
I'll be there to put one foot in front of the other.
So we made sure to visit him whenever we can, so he will not forget us. But each visit is bittersweet because you're happy to see him, he's growing, but you know you have to leave a few days or a few weeks later. And it's a short amount of time spent with him, and we always had to say goodbye. But these visits are a reminder of of our bond and our promise to him that he will be with us in Singapore. After more than a year, the day finally came. After all the medical checkups, all the logistics, paperwork, planning, we finally received the notification that Cubi is cleared to travel to Singapore and be with us. But he is still required to go under quarantine for 30 days. Because Singapore is very strict, they don't have rabies in Singapore. Even though Cubi was fully vaccinated and all, they still want to be safe and made sure that he's rabies free. So 30 days quarantine, it was tough because he was just contained in one small area. He was all alone. There's no space for him to run around and play. So we really made sure we visit him as much as possible. We were only allowed 2 hours every weekday and 3 hours every weekend to visit him. We just thought that, hey, at least he's already in Singapore with us. Anytime we want to go, we can just go and visit him. 30 days later, he was finally released from quarantine, and it felt like a dream come true. Hello, Cubi. Hello. We're so happy to have him finally with us and with Zoe. Integrating Cubi with Zoe wasn't very easy. Cats are extremely territorial, and Zoe, being an antisocial cat, she really doesn't like other cats. She prefers humans, as I mentioned in my earlier vlog. So we had to keep them separated for a while until they got used to each other's scent. Eventually, through a lot of integration, positive associations, eventually Zoe became okay with Cubi. She started tolerating him. I remember the day when they started playing with each other, chasing around the house, playing with toys together, and we're so happy to see that. Today, Cubi is now a picture of health and happiness, far from the helpless kitten that I found in that parking lot. And speaking of the parking lot, today there's still a lot of stray cats in that area. Our goal is to have them spayed and neutered so they can be healthy and their population can be controlled. You can check out my other vlog about that, our initiatives with the homeless dog shelter. And we even leased an apartment near the area where we found Cubi, made it a pet-friendly Airbnb. In fact, I'm staying in that apartment right now doing this vlog. Every time I see Cubi play, I'm reminded of how far he's come. His journey really touched our hearts and changed our lives forever. But Cubi's story is just one of many. There are a lot of strays out there, and by adopting or rescuing instead of buying, we can give these strays a second chance in life. And if you do want to help, consider donating to the homeless dog shelter Subic here in the Philippines. Ever since rescuing Cubi, my wife and I were motivated and inspired to do more for the strays. And this is the non-profit organization that we decided to support because they're doing great work despite of having little to no funds. You can check out my previous vlog about them and see the work that they do. And if you are inspired, please do donate. Any amount can go a long way and make a difference to the lives of the strays. And I hope, lastly, you enjoyed hearing the story of Cubi. And thank you very much. Until the next vlog. See ya.